I'm telling you, if more Christians and more churches and more cultures and more fellowships and more circles would stop trying to produce a Christian life, you'd actually find freedom. If you would just stop trying to be better, trying to make the better decision when you haven't been given any of the fruit of the Spirit to help you make that decision last and stick. Our only job to try harder is to be more humble, is to be more honest about the sin in our life, to be more honest about the selfishness that's there. You want to experience a transformed life in your marriage? Stop trying to love them more. Because at best, your best love is selfish still at its root. Do you understand? Your best love is still going to be selfish in your deepest rooted heart. So stop trying to love them more. You need to acknowledge in your prayer time, and you need to confess to God that, look, even my best opportunity to love is filled with selfishness, and most of the time she doesn't deserve that love to begin with, right? God, I need to confess that and give it to you. And I need to let you produce the love that only you can produce in me. You want to have a transformed life in your jobs and your careers, right? Well, your only job is to confess the sin, confess and acknowledge that sin of discontentment and that sin of selfish ambition and that sin of greed that's in your heart, that's in your life, that's going to bring nothing but hopelessness to you. And ask Jesus by the Spirit to produce in you contentment, to produce in you self-control, to produce in you peace and joy for where you are. You don't have a transformed life in all your relationships and your personal desires. You just have to acknowledge the sin. That's how you put it to death. You can't even put it to death. That's another failure on our part. You can't even really what am I going to do to put it to death? I don't get to do anything. I just got to give it to Jesus and let him crucify it like he did. Because that's what he already did for me, to put it to death. And then I just let him produce self-control and faithfulness and goodness and peace and joy. Let him produce that. And yeah, the decisions will come, and yes, the choices will be made, and yes, I will still choose sometimes to enter into the battle of two selves. I will still enter in sometimes to think that I can figure out a way to do it, and I will deal with the consequences of that. And then I will have an opportunity to confess that and come back and say, well, I'd rather live in the Spirit in all areas of my life. I'd rather continue to try to find a way to just put to death what's in me, so that he can give me a new DNA, so that he can give me so that where I can become a new man because of who he is in my life. That's all I need to do. And I'm just telling you, it would free so many people who call themselves Christians would be so freed to understand that it's just not about, and I don't understand why people are trying so hard to become a Christian and to be a better one, when that was never your job. Your job was just to let him produce a transformed life in you. Oh, you'll see the results. You'll see the change. You'll see the transformation. But it won't be because you made the right choice. It'll be because you did what you are called to do, what I'm called to do. Just put it to death. Die to that temptation to weigh out the balances and battle it myself. And let him, who's already won it. It's going from a battle that I can't win to a battle that I can't lose. If by the Spirit every day, in all areas of my life, I allow him to produce that transformed life in me. Let's pray together.